China launches invasion of Taiwan.
Oh, yes. So this is obviously something that's been on everybody's mind. You hear about it all the time in the media. You have the US intelligence community has been saying for a year or so now that they think Chinese President Xi Jinping has ordered the People's Liberation Army to be ready for an invasion of Taiwan as early as 2027. You can take that as you will. What, in your mind, are the reasons for China wanting to invade Taiwan? Why would they take such a big risk to take that island back?
I mean, first of all, we know that Xi Jinping has said many, many times in public speeches that he wants to do this. And he wants to do this by 2049. Now, to celebrate, because 2049 is the 100th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic. And so it's been a core aspect of Chinese nationalism to reunify, what they call reunify with Taiwan, to take back Taiwan. They've already taken Hong Kong, and so Taiwan is next.
Beyond the reunification, this kind of idea that it's a renegade province that should be brought back into the mainland, what other kind of geopolitical factors are behind the CCP's decision to want to take Taiwan back?
So Taiwan is a crucial node in the first island chain. So basically, if you look at a map, we got a globe right here.
Yeah.
If you look at a globe, Taiwan is kind of the linchpin of the first island chain, which is from Okinawa, Taiwan, and the Philippines. And basically, that boxes the Chinese Navy in, so they can't reach the Pacific. And the Taiwan Strait itself has trillions of dollars of world trade, and the majority of advanced electronics trade going through that strait. And so who controls that strait, who controls that island, allows China to punch out further and increase its influence even further beyond into the Pacific Ocean.
Okay. And also, as is kind of widely discussed, Taiwan is a hotbed for the manufacturing of semiconductors and chips that are essential for modern technology, and also, of course, defense technology, right? Could that also be another reason why China may be keen to sort of to take the island and prevent the US and its allies from accessing that technology?
Absolutely. Taiwan actually produces over 90% of the world's advanced semiconductors, and semiconductors are in every electronics, right? They're basically the brains of electronics. So this is a foundational technology for the 21st century. I mean, so many future technologies are dependent on advanced semiconductors. And Taiwan is, of course, an unofficial ally of the United States. And so China also, I mean, the US is blockading, trying to prevent China from developing its own advanced semiconductors. And, 90% of this production is right off the coast of China. So it's a very tempting morsel to
Just sitting right there waiting. Yeah,
yeah, very tempting.
So these are the reasons why China may be interested in invading Taiwan and willing to take that risk. What evidence have we actually seen in real life to suggest that this is actually something that could feasibly happen? What signals have we seen from China? What kind of conditions have arisen that would suggest this could happen at some point in the near future?
Quite a lot, actually. So the Democratic Party of Taiwan was elected in 2016, and this is the first time that Taiwan has had a relatively pro-independence party in a long time. So since 2016, China's been tightening the noose around Taiwan. And we're at a point now, 10 years later, where China is sending so many fighter jets into Taiwan's airspace, so many ships into Taiwan's exclusive economic zone, and so on. So China's already moving towards this, mobilizing the resources for this, and testing Taiwan's defenses.
You also said earlier, actually, that Xi has himself stated that by 2049, there's this kind of a hard deadline in the sand. By this point, Taiwan will have been reunited with the motherland, so to speak. Have there been any particular sort of government statements or sort of any big decisions that have been taken that would suggest that China and the PLA are actually consistently working towards this goal right now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Xi Jinping has been saying this in speeches every single year. And when Nancy Pelosi visited the former Speaker of the House of Representatives in the United States, when she visited Taiwan in the summer of 2022, after she left, so China waited till she left, but after she left, China actually blockaded Taiwan for 5 days. So they surrounded Taiwan with ships and so China demonstrated the capacity that they can do this, that they can blockade Taiwan for 5 days, and Taiwan couldn't really do anything in self-defense.
Okay, so now we've got a pretty clear understanding of, it seems there's a lot of factors and a lot of evidence to suggest this could well happen. What's telling us that this actually might not happen? Like, what are the barriers preventing China from actually going through with this and launching a full-scale invasion of Taiwan?
Well, it would start a war with the United States. And
The
so,
elephant in the room,
yeah.
the big old massive bald eagle in the room.
And so in Trump's second term, he's actually been pretty careful in keeping like US strategic ambiguity.
Hmm.
The previous administration, Biden, said 4 times that yes, if China invades Taiwan, the US will defend
Hmm.
Taiwan. And this has always been the assumption since the 1980s, right? That the US is going to defend Taiwan. And recently, other countries like Japan have also been saying that, if China invades Taiwan, this is a core national security interest for Japan as well because of all the trade and so on. And the US has been doing military exercises with the Philippines to actually help defend against, retaking islands and so on. So, yeah, there's a lot of evidence for this.
And beyond the factor of the threat of a US armed response and the response of US allies, Taiwan itself is not exactly the easiest place to launch an invasion, is it? So can you maybe tell me a little bit about why an invasion might encounter some difficulties beyond the US?
Well, I mean, first of all, Taiwan's an island. There's a big piece of ocean in between Taiwan and China, and launching an invasion and occupation across an ocean is extremely difficult. I mean, Hitler couldn't do it with Britain, for example. And we can just see the problems that Russia has been having since 2022 in launching a land invasion, right? So Russia's front line has barely moved in the past 2 years or so, despite all the resources that Russia has. But launching a sea invasion would involve at least 1 million troops because you need to take the island, but you also need to occupy the island. And actually, Taiwan's geography itself, it's highly mountainous, and there's only a very small number of beaches in which China could actually do a D-Day type, beach invasion.
Shallow water as well, right? There's
Shallow
about
water.
a mile off the coast is very shallow water. So
Exactly.
there's no way that China could land or kind of dock any of its large warships or anything like that.
And the United States has silent submarines. So they're basically undetectable submarines that can go through underneath the Taiwan Strait, knocking down all the, troop amphibious warfare ships.
Okay, so it seems like it's a pretty major undertaking, but one that China seems to be pretty keen on doing at some point.
Oh, I have no doubt about that.
And do we have I mean, it's obviously very difficult to name to name a particular time, but a rough timeline? It seems that maybe 2027, which is kind of the number that's been thrown around a lot in the media and also by the US intelligence community, is obviously perhaps a bit soon. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think 2027 is still too soon. So China is very happy with the US being bogged down in Ukraine and the Middle East and using up US stockpiles of missiles and so on. So I think, China has the luxury of time to sit and wait more for China to build up its own military resources while the US depletes
Yeah.
its resources.
I suppose also China hasn't actually fought any kind of major war in what decade? Like the 70s? Something like that?
1979,
79,
and that
so-
was just a small, like less than 1 month invasion of Vietnam.
Yeah.
In the modern era with modern warfare, cyber, satellites, all that stuff, you need interoperability between different forces. I mean, China has no experience whatsoever in modern warfare.
Okay. Okay, so it needs all the time it can get.